You ain't nowhere to be found. What's up, Fort Worth fam? It's Fort Worth Fabian back again with a reaction video for you guys, man. And I have another creepy true story reaction, man. I just reacted to Unit 522. Now I'm here with Mr. Nightmare Files. Not Mr. Nightmare. I'm here with Nightmare Files. He's not Mr. Nightmare. He's a different horror story narrator. But he's up there with some of my top guys. Mr. Nightmare is my favorite. So check out Mr. Nightmare. Check out Unit number 522. Check out Nightmare Files. And check out Let's Read. Let's Read's a dope narrator as well. His stories are just so long that I don't know about reacting to them on this channel, because sometimes they'll be an hour to a couple hours long. But hey, with that being said, let's get into this, man. This is 4 creepy true stories with real footage. This ain't no game. We got some footage going on here. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Fort Worth Fabian. We're on the road to 50,000 subs, man. Let's get it.
He later figured out that she had snuck through an unlocked back door, and she snuck into his bedroom and stole a Snickers. I removed that freak from my Snapchat that night.
See, I don't like Nightmare Files because he always prefaces his stories. It's like, just get into it. We don't need a preview. True stories with real video footage.
A few years ago, my friends and I were into exploring different areas and buildings around our neighborhood that were rumored to be haunted or tied to urban legends. There was a road that we were too afraid to explore until we all built up enough courage to explore it honestly. This road was said to be haunted by spirits called Chikawas. We always walked past this road in order to go to school and go home, but it was barricaded from traffic passing through, which made it more eerie. One day, a group of my friends and I went to the road at night, and we stopped at the barricade. I asked, was everybody ready, and no one said anything. No one made a noise. So I went on the other side of the barricade, so everyone would follow me until we heard someone. We all stopped in our tracks. We didn't make it 2 feet onto the road before we ran away. The next day, we decided to go during the day in the morning, since it was the weekend and we had nothing else to do. So as my friends and I explore the abandoned road, we start to talk about how we have seen figures down that road when we pass it. We get about halfway down the road as I was talking about where I saw the figure and how I was getting an eerie feeling. Something just didn't feel right. Right at that moment, we hear what sounds like a little girl, and this is what we caught on camera.
Really where I found. Down right there. Did you? What? The heck?
I thought they just would help. Wait.
Dude, I swear, did you not hear that?
Did you just hear someone struggle?
I hear. Really where I found. Down right there.
Did you?
Really where I found. Down right there.
Sounds like hay.
Did you? Did you? Did you? Did you?
After recording that, we stayed for a little bit longer, but I didn't hear anything else, nor did my friends. When we left, we showed our parents, but they thought it was one of us who walked off camera to yell, "Help me." We even went to the police, but they thought the same thing. My friends and I did some research on that road and where we heard the voices. And where we heard those voices in the past, there was a spirit camp for the Chikawas, and where it used to be. Since then, we haven't seen any little girl. We haven't been back to that spot. It just baffles me that we heard someone yelling "help me" 2 different times. I had been with my girlfriend for a few years when this happened, and we decided to move in together. We lived on the second floor of an apartment building. I'm gonna get straight to the point. One night at around midnight, or a little bit past midnight, I could hear someone outside near a shack in our back parking lot. While sitting at my desktop computer, I can hear something. I look outside, but I didn't see anything. I turned off my light, and I heard the sound again. I looked out. Then I looked down near the shack, and to my shock, I saw a man looking right at me. He was standing right next to the shack. I really wasn't afraid due to people possibly smoking back there, but it was pretty late, so I just went back to what I was doing. About 20 minutes later, I happened to look back out there. He was still there in the same spot, looking right at me. I said whatever and I went to bed. The next day around the same time, I hear. I said this can't be happening, and I looked outside, and it was the same person doing the same thing. I called one of my friends, and he thought it was funny. But the guy stood there for hours. I decided not to do anything. But I told my girlfriend the next morning, and she was freaked out. So that next morning, I looked out there again, but no one was there. At least not yet. At around 1:30 a.m., I look outside, and guess who was there? That same guy. I recorded some of it and made sure that my girlfriend was up to see this, and this is what I caught on camera.
It's 2:49 a.m. and this guy's been out here for like an hour now, and the cops still haven't showed up, so I just called again. So I guess we'll wait and see if they show this time. In the meantime, I'm gonna film it to keep this as a record of what's been going on. So this guy's been out here for the past
What's this
3
dude
nights.
filming on a tripod? That is like the most still shot I've ever seen. Like, why is he so, you know what I mean? Like, dude is not, he's recording off his phone. I'm not seeing any movement whatsoever.
And it's like I kind of didn't really pay that much attention to him before, because sometimes people go back there like to talk on their phone or like smoke a cigarette, I guess, late at night.
He's moving now.
But this guy's just been out there staring, and I didn't really pay much mind until I noticed that he was in the same area every night, and he was not moving, just staring at our window, and I could see him when I'm on my computer. So yeah, I'm gonna record this and keep a record as, I guess, video evidence, because cops never showed up.
After that night, he showed up a few more times, but I wasn't really worried because I bought a weapon. Still to this day, I haven't seen this guy anymore. I don't know what that was for and what his deal was, but it didn't really scare me. It was just kind of weird. I don't know.
Let off a warning shot. He'll go running.
So I encountered my stalker when I was a freshman in high school. It first started off from something as extremely harmless to downright disturbing. After my first day of school, a girl named Alexa had added me on Snapchat. I thought nothing of it since I didn't know her like that. She started hitting me up, but I didn't like her in that way. One day after school, I was walking home and she randomly informed me that she added me to her private story. Okay, so I never asked her about it. I got home, and out of curiosity, I checked her private story. What I saw definitely weirded me out. Her story was a video of me walking home, particularly not too far away from my house. The caption of the video said, "Kiss me already." Did she want me to just turn around as soon as I saw her story and give her a kiss? I don't know. How did I not know she was behind me that whole time? Whatever. I got over it quickly though, since I thought she was no threat. Just a creepy, harmless girl with an obsession for me. I should have blocked her. But anyways, one day I misplaced my sweater. I checked all my previous classes I had, and especially the lost and found. I eventually gave up because there were no signs of it being anywhere. I eventually bumped into Alexa one day during random lunch period at the water fountain. This was one of the most socially awkward interactions I've ever had with someone. Seeing her for the first time in person, Something about her gave me this really creepy vibe. No offense. I then noticed that she was wearing my sweater, but I pretended that I didn't realize. She must have stolen it when I wasn't paying attention, obviously. She didn't say anything at first, so I felt really uncomfortable during this brief moment of silence. She then broke the ice by asking me in this emotionless stare, "Do you want to hang out later?" I excused myself from this creepy conversation by saying that I needed to use the bathroom. She gave me this annoyed look as I walked away from her. I was relieved that it was over. I stopped opening her snaps from that day on and avoiding her at all costs. Fast forward a month or two into the school year. Me and my good friend E, we were planning on throwing a party in his basement. It was just another one of those typical high school parties. So me and E made sure that no private information gets revealed about our party to no one. Really, the address. We didn't want any random unwanted guests to come over. That was a big no-no.
Right.
So E gave me the approval
Facts.
for letting me post on my Snapchat story that there was a party going on tonight. I saw that Alexa immediately responded in the first 30 seconds, and I saw the notification that she had sent a message. I knew she was asking to come, so I never responded back, knowing that she was, pretty weird. Party commenced that night, and I was having a lot of fun, and all of a sudden I heard this commotion going on in the other room. Out of curiosity, I looked in there and I saw E. He was shouting at Alexa and her two other weird friends. Alexa then noticed me and gave me this hideous stare. She walked up to me ready to fight me, and then started screaming profusely at me. She threw a tantrum about why I didn't answer her snaps and how I didn't want her to come. She was throwing a full-on fit in front of everyone. She was having a mental breakdown for another 2 minutes until she finally stormed out. After the party, me and E later figured out that she had snuck through an unlocked back door, and she snuck into his bedroom and stole a Snickers. I removed that freak from my Snapchat that night. E didn't tell his parents about Alexa because he didn't want to get in trouble for throwing a party. I really didn't know how she figured out the address because I remember that me and E told everyone at the party to leave their snap maps off so nobody could see the location of the party. After that awful weekend, I was sick of Alexa and her following me everywhere I went. I realized that she was nuts. I marched up to Alexa first thing at school and gave her a piece of my mind. She probably understood since I never saw her again, but it wouldn't be the last time. By that next week, she left my school, never to be heard from again. On Christmas Day, I received a text from an unknown number. She introduced herself as Alexa's aunt. Alexa's aunt said that Alexa ran away recently and to contact this number. Was this a sympathetic way for Alexa to start talking to me again? It was pretty weird knowing that her aunt had my number. I asked a group of my friends if they also got this strange text message. They all said yes. One of my friends said that apparently she does hard drugs now and that she sleeps on the streets. Another friend said there was a rumor she wanted to fight me, which I found kind of funny. I didn't believe her for some reason because she looked genuinely innocent. Boy, was I wrong. Fast forward many months later. I don't know if it was just a coincidence, but this girl definitely found me. Me and my two close female friends at the time were hanging out one Friday. They begged me to go to this popular fast food joint so we can get some snacks. It was nearby and many kids would gather there to hang out around this time. I hesitated for a bit because there's usually a weird crowd there as well. We started walking and made it there in 5 minutes. We were right in front of the entrance when two sketchy guys in dark hoods quickly approached us. They reeked of marijuana and asked me if I wanted to buy some. I couldn't see their face in the dark. They both had low voices and were significantly taller than me. I declined their offer because I knew that they could have attempted to mug me or just jump me in the parking lot. We went inside. My two female friends made their order and we found a seat. 2 minutes later, I saw that Alexa had just entered the restaurant with the same two guys. I got red flags immediately, realizing that one of the guys was dating Alexa, and this might be a setup. They were intently staring at us from a distance. We had to leave now, and I told one of my female friends to text their parents for a ride right now. She didn't hesitate because she also saw them too. Alexa was already creepy, but the menacing look she was giving us was nightmare fuel. Something really didn't feel right. Something bad was about to happen. In the span of 10 seconds, Alexa was at the table, picking a fight with my two friends. My friends were both scared as hell and couldn't defend themselves, so I had to intervene and tell her to get away. She then put her attention toward me.
Man, if y'all
She
get
was screaming
your-
a bunch of things that a deranged person with ill intentions would say. She was right in my face, and I could see that her eyes were bloodshot red. She might have been on something. She then called the other two guys, probably to back her up. Those two guys were just as hideous as Alexa was, being that I could fully see their faces now. Her apparent boyfriend started talking to me. He told me if I ran out that he would stab me. He then showed me that he was armed with a blade. And now the tension really began to rise in the room. I was scared as hell, since I was outnumbered and they were both armed. No one was backing us up at all. Everyone was just silently staring at us. The employees were either too afraid to approach us or were oblivious to what was going on. The boyfriend was demanding me for my phone and any other valuables that I had on me. Meanwhile, Alexa and the other guy were making my two friends frozen in fear. I felt that I was put into a very dangerous situation. I've always been a passive person who would never desire to get my hands dirty, but I knew how to perform jujitsu. I tried to keep my cool as long as I could. I was waiting for the ride to get there so we can get the hell out of there. It felt like an eternity. These misfortunate teenagers were really underestimating me. Then Alexa's boyfriend said something disrespectful, very disrespectful, and that's when I snapped. I lunged at both of them, ended up breaking the boyfriend's nose. It started a massive commotion inside the restaurant. Every other kid surrounding us had recorded the brawl, even that freak Alexa, and this is what she caught on tape. Alexa was screaming for her boyfriend to beat me up. The employees finally broke us up and told us all to leave. In that quick moment, my girlfriends ushered me out of the building. One of their moms had come to pick us up. As we sprinted to the car, I turned around to see that Alexa and the two guys were behind us. This was the most gut-wrenching feeling I ever felt because they were armed with blades. Before I slammed the car door, the boyfriend tried to pull me out. That's when I kicked him in his jaw a few times and he fell to the ground. We sped off into the night. My two friends beside me were now sobbing and uncontrollably. Meanwhile, the mom was frantically asking me what was happening. I was the only one who responded by telling her everything. The mom later said that it was mandatory that I sleep at her house. She didn't want me walking home alone in the dark that night. I just wondered why she didn't just take me home. I really just wanted to go home at this point. We made it to my friend's house, and as soon as we went into the living room, my phone started to vibrate. It was my good friend, so I picked up the phone. I put him on loudspeaker so my other friends can hear as well. On that phone call, he dropped a bomb. Earlier in the evening, Alexa and the two guys attempted to break into his house. They were banging on the front door, screaming at him to open it up. He ran and told his parents that there were intruders trying to break in. The kids booked it as soon as the parents informed him that the police were on their way. He also told me that Alexa was outside my house right after that incident. I asked him what he meant. He then sent me a disturbing video from Alexa's Snapchat story. In the video, Alexa was outside of my house with even more.
That's a pure psycho chick, bruh. When you get an inkling somebody's weird, once she stole like a jacket, like she was following you home, like, bro. With that situation scenario, you cut it off as quickly as possible. Don't let it linger. Don't allow her to feel comfortable just so that when you break it off, it's more traumatic for her. And then she goes crazy and does stuff like this, bro. It's like, bro. Some people, you just got to know how to cut them off before it even gets to a point to where, you know, very weird stuff can go on.
More people than before.
Dang.
She then eerily said, "Where is he?" This wasn't over yet. I felt relieved that I didn't go back home that night. Somehow, my family didn't know that they were outside the house that whole time. The next few days were the most anxiety-filled days of my life. I started to receive threatening messages every minute from an unknown contact. I knew it was them. They said that they will find me either at my house or at my school. Feeling that I was still in danger, I told my parents everything. They scheduled an appointment with 2 police officers so I could report the incident to them. I screenshotted several of the text messages sent by several contacts. My mom would also start getting those phone calls from the same contacts. They said a bunch of crazy stuff to her that I couldn't tell you. I realized how deranged and mentally ill Alexa was after all of this. This is extremely abnormal behavior from a teenager. It was like she wanted to kill me or something.
That's what it sounds
A
like.
week later, being paranoid from that incident, I was at school. We had a substitute teacher and nothing was really going on. It was the last 5 minutes of that last period and everyone was getting antsy in their seats.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, this is a super long story. I've never had stories be this long. But the fact that she took it to this extent, I thought it was, these are based off of true stories, bro. I would have been called the cops, though. I mean, tell your family if they was posted outside your house, why did the cops not pull up and snap all? And even at the restaurant, the employees couldn't even call the police when there's commotion going inside. What? Is you dumb? Like,
this class was in the basement of my school and I was sitting beside one of my friends who were there that night with me. The basement of our school was very creepy and narrow. My class was located at the very end of a long, eerie, dark hallway. My friend then asked to use the bathroom, and when she came back a minute later, she looked frightened. It was almost like she had that same face from that one night. She calmly sat down beside me and whispered in my ear, "They're here." I asked where. She responded, "At the end of the hallway." I checked to see if she was telling the truth, so I cracked the door open. What happened?
So this story continued into another story. It's in story number 3. We're not done yet. If you don't get your,
The next felt like a horror movie. Alexa was at the end of the hallway, but she wasn't alone. My heart dropped to my stomach when I saw her. She was already looking in my direction and our eyes locked up into each other's. She was with 2 boys I fought earlier, and 3 other sketchy guys. Why didn't the hallway monitor kick them out? I don't know.
Facts.
I quickly shut the door, feeling the same dreadful feeling that I had that night.
It's always a scenario of somebody not doing their job. Like I said earlier, the restaurant didn't call the cops. Whoever is security at this place, the school ain't even letting whoever in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where are those roadblocks that are set to be put in place to prevent danger or help protect others in the right? You know, it's like when you see a cop. It's like when you see a car speeding past you on the road, driving reckless. You wonder where the cops at when you need them. But no, they're around to pull you over because you went 3 over the speed limit. They're around to pull you over because you got a headlight. You know, it's all the weakest stuff they're there for. But when it's like somebody really needs you, you ain't nowhere to be found.
And that I was a dead man after school. The bell rang at the consecutive moment. Class was over. As I left my class, I saw that Alexa and her goons were slowly creeping toward me. And that is when I booked it out of there out the exit. I lost them as soon as I left the school property. That night, my parents broke the news to me that Alexa and her boyfriend were just arrested, pulling off another act in that fast food joint. The employees were apparently afraid of them. Apparently, they were both common customers around that time of night. This time, they were caught for good.
Bro, I'm not gonna be afraid to call the cops if I'm working at a restaurant and people are threatening me there. You know what I mean? Like,
I am a school resource
That's their
officer in the
job.
city of Austin, Texas. Last year, my buddy and I were working graveyard shift and got a call to the campus because an alarm had been triggered. My partner and I went to the campus and went to a hallway where rooms 143 and 144 were located. After clearing the area, I told my buddy that I was going to the restroom and for him to wait for me. When I came out, my buddy signals with his hand to be quiet and listen. I noticed he had his gun drawn, so I drew mine too. I listened to the silence, and we both heard what sounded like shuffling, or something being dragged through the floor. I thought to myself, oh shoot. And I told my partner, there's someone here. We canvassed through the entire campus this time, and again, we saw nothing. Afterward, we came back to the same spot and I told my partner to head out. He agreed and stated, it's raccoons on the ceiling making the noises. He then banged on the wall, and we quickly got a reply in the far distance with another bang. My partner and I headed out in a bit in a hurry, since we knew that the campus was empty. When we headed outside, we heard screeching on top of our heads. Clear screeching, but never could determine where it came from. When we got back onto our patrol car, we asked ourselves, who would know anything or the particulars about this campus? My partner mentioned that another officer I was very familiar with. He knew the history of the campus, so we called him since he was the only one on duty anyway. When we called the third officer, all we asked was, "Do you know about this campus?" He said, "Oh yeah, it's haunted. The haunted area is between room 143 and 144. My partner
Oh yeah, it's haunted. Don't worry about it, man. Oh, yeah, we all know that, man.
looked at each other in amazement. The third officer went on to say that he had a video of it. Without further ado, here's the video he provided. Keep in mind, when we received this video, everything was consistent with the noises we heard that night. And that video was uploaded by the third officer a year prior to this.
You just see random shadows walking across. I think we get the point. You know what I mean? So that is Nightmare Files with 4 creepy true stories with real video footage, man. Let me know y'all's thoughts on that one. Comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @FortWorthFabo, man. We're on the road to 50,000 subs. I appreciate all you guys. Till next time. Peace.